But as we all know, there are very common roadblocks to being able to just simply strip everything away and live as we would ideally like to. And some of those roadblocks are a lack of balance due to choices about work, friends, and family. It can also be a lack of commitment to our own well-being. Sometimes we think that, we wear our sacrifices as a badge of honor, and we want people to recognize us for how hard we're working, how much we're suffering, how much we're giving up and giving away, and it's almost as if we've set ourselves up in this society to be celebrated for being martyrs, and that is never going to bring us happiness and joy. So we need to reestablish a commitment to our own well-being, and just kind of slough off that reward that we get from people for our misery, basically, because that's not ever going to bring us the happiness that we want. Another common roadblock is allowing outside factors or influences to drive or determine your path. So sometimes family or friends, partners, sometimes their path will conflict with ours in certain ways. And we need to figure out, in what ways those conflicts are having a detrimental effect on our ability to be happy and to allow ourselves to have those opportunities for happiness and create those opportunities for happiness in our lives. It doesn't mean necessarily getting rid of anybody, in our lives who doesn't have the same path as us. It just means figuring out how that works, how we can reinforce, their happiness and also have our own and have them reinforce that for us as well. So, there are always going to be roadblocks, but we have to come up with ways to work around that. And so, people are thinking, well, okay, how do I get started? And I touched on this a little bit. Step number one is to define your core values. And for people who haven't done any kind of exercise like this before, I would encourage them to start with just 3 to 5 core values that are the most important things that they live their life by. So for me, they are integrity, service, love, honesty, family, things like that. And everyone's are going to be slightly different. So once you've decided you've identified rather what your core values are, then you can decide what facets of lifestyle are most important to you and define it with a statement, kind of like a fortune cookie message. What is important in your life? What are your values? And then, as I suggested before, you can, get a blank sheet of paper or a calendar sheet or something that's blank and write everything in that you're currently doing. Take a look at it and then start, crossing things out that don't need to be there, shouldn't be there, or you don't want to be there. So if you have kids and you're completely overscheduled because you have 5 nights a week of hockey and dance and figure skating and gymnastics and the chess club and volleyball and whatever it might be, and your entire family is running around like crazy people all week trying to just make all these things happen, maybe you need to realize, okay, we're overscheduled. We can't handle this. We're never sitting down to dinner together. We're not sharing time together. We're spending all of our time focused on other people and outside activities. And if one of your values, like mine is family, then that doesn't work. So the chaos and the stress of that, sport mom or sport family, isn't really going to be adding to your positive experience with your family. And you're always going to feel like there's something lacking, like you're not doing enough, because you're not getting the satisfaction out of those things that you thought you would. So you have to reevaluate literally everything. And for some people, that even means reevaluating work. Maybe, the work that you do, or the people that you're working with, or even the, the overarching theory, or the values of the company that you're working for, maybe they don't align with you either. And so maybe it's also time to look for something different, that's going to be fulfilling you a little bit more than what you're currently doing. Obviously, some people either don't have that opportunity, or don't want to take that chance. That can be a really scary leap. A job change. But sometimes it's necessary. And I know a lot of people who have done it, and they are ultimately so much happier when it's all said and done, even though it might have been scary at the time. So you've started to let things go. You've started to cross things off, that maybe don't fit, and you're reevaluating all the things, right, that you're doing. So anything that doesn't fit, you're letting it go, right? You're releasing it back out into the universe where it belongs, and it's no longer a part of your experience. So then you have an opportunity that you haven't probably ever had, or you didn't think you had, to fill your schedule, fill those blank holes of the things that you've let go with authentic activities. And this will go back to, maybe when you were in high school, you really loved painting, watercolors, or maybe you played an instrument and it's all dusty in the closet somewhere and you haven't had it out in decades. Maybe you really haven't fostered your relationships well with your friends. And so it's time to add more social visits, into your schedule. And maybe you haven't been very good to yourself either. So maybe it's time, if you do enjoy reading, you do enjoy, anything. Maybe you haven't taken very good care of yourself physically. You want to add an exercise program in there. You want to add or explore meditation. Who knows? Maybe you just want to be home some nights and cook a meal from scratch for your family, right? It could be anything, but you have to decide what those things are that are really going to reinforce your happiness and your joy, and choose things that are going to help you to live the way that you really want to, and live authentically. So that's your opportunity to fill in those spaces where they've been left blank by getting rid of the stuff that's really clutter. We talk about clutter, in a home where, you've got the junk drawer, or you've got the closet that needs to be organized, and, but it happens with our schedules too, right? Sometimes, especially as women, we are people pleasers, and we don't want to say no, and we need to say no. But we want to say yes. We want to help people. We want to comfort people. We want to be there. And so when someone asks you for something, the answer is usually, oh yeah, I can do that. Or, oh gosh, my schedule is full, but I could do it on Saturday, or I could do it Tuesday afternoon, right? And we somehow find a way to fit all of these things in. And then we're so crammed, your schedule is so crammed with things that you feel like you're suffocating, you can't breathe. And so it's really important to sometimes declutter your schedule too. And this is essentially, what we're doing. So then after you've done all this, what's next? So we have to live with and commit, right, to the schedule and activities that we choose, because we're now choosing. We are in the driver's seat. We are in control of our schedule now. We've gotten rid of the clutter. We've added stuff back in that's really gonna, be wonderful for us. And we have to try that for 2 weeks. right? Give it a test run, because if you've ever done trial and error for anything, you know that most of the time, the first time, you don't get it quite right. So you try it for a couple of weeks, and you kind of just feel it out. Feel, what's working, what's not working, maybe something that you thought you were really going to enjoy, maybe that instrument that you dusted off and got out of the closet just, didn't do it like you thought it was going to. Maybe that moment in your life has passed, and you've decided that that instrument, itself is now clutter, and you've got to let that go too. So the time that you set aside, to do that, thinking it was going to be, just like old times, and it wasn't. So you can pick something else now to put in that, time slot on your schedule that you thought you were going to be practicing and playing, and enjoying. And it's okay to let things go, right? The nostalgia of things, it's just like clutter. Sometimes we hold on to little trinkets and things that, we think mean something to us. And then we discover once they're gone that it really wasn't the item that was the thing that brought us the joy. It was the memory of the person or the activity that was enjoyed that was linked to that little trinket, right? So sometimes we need to let those things go too. And if that moment has passed for you and your instrument, or you and your paintbrush, or you and your microphone, or you and or you and your fry pan, it's okay. You can agree to just, let that go too. And it was part of your past, and you enjoyed it, and you can treasure it as part of your past. And maybe there's something that you have always wanted to try. Maybe you want to do cross-country skiing. I don't know. Maybe you want to do wrestling. Maybe you want to design business cards. Who knows? But whatever it is that you haven't tried, that you were looking forward to at some point, maybe we add that in now, right? Maybe we try that. So you try for 2 weeks, you let the things go that didn't quite work out the way you thought they would, and you try something else and you plug it in. And you do that, a couple of times, go for 2 weeks and then see. And that's the beauty of having control, right, over your schedule, instead of having it imposed on you and just having to incorporate things that are given to you into your schedule, right? You're in the driver's seat, so you can try things out, you can change, and it's okay, because it's all about you.